Hey guys, welcome to Coffee with Megan, where I chat to people in the fashion industry who are using their platform for good. Today I'm going to talk to model Danielle Copperman. She is also a writer about sustainability, wellness, and travel. And she has a lot of amazing tips, a lot of amazing advice, from being an author of her own book to creating her own products as well. So I hope you enjoy. Hey Danielle.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Where are you right now? Obviously, we are all in lockdown in different places in the world. Where are you hiding out?
So I'm in France, like kind of northeast of France, in my boyfriend's family home, and it's just the two of us and our dog, and it's pretty chilled actually. I was in London to begin with, and I got a bit like of cabin fever, but now we have more space. It's really nice to be in France for a bit. So yeah,
Oh, that sounds much better than London.
yeah.
I know you through fashion industry and modeling, but you're also an author, and you write an amazing blog that I look at a lot called Wellbeing and Other Stories. I really love this quote I found on there. Buying and consuming mindfully is more powerful than it sounds. And whilst, as a model especially, I can live sustainably all the time, I can't live sustainably all the time. I hope to make this a realistic ambassador for a balanced and better way of living, not a perfect one. I really, really love that. I just think it's yeah, you wrote that. Yeah, it's your quote.
Yeah, I forgot I wrote that.
Oh, you forgot you wrote it. No, it's really beautifully written, and I think it's really honest. And I want to ask you a little bit about where this started for you, when you realized this was something you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I think with having like online platforms as well at the moment, it's really important to be transparent, and that comes through when you have a brand, of course, as well. But just if you're communicating messages to people or things that you're trying to do, it's just about saying like there's ways to do it better, but no one's going to do it perfectly, especially sustainability, because in the modern world and the kind of lifestyles that we want and the kind of jobs we have, it's just literally impossible unless you're going to go live in the jungle somewhere. So I think it's really important to be transparent, and what I'm trying to do is basically provide resources and inspire people to make little changes and just to like learn along the way, because I think you really have to understand why you're doing something as well before you're just told to do it and you're going to do it. So that's kind of what I'm trying to do with my blog and just when I'm talking to people. But I guess it all started in like food and fitness through like the modeling industry. I was always just conscious about what to eat and just to feel good and look good for the job and like kind of have energy, because we obviously have really long days on set and we want to feel good whilst we're working, obviously. So that it kind of started with food and fitness, and I was just looking at my own lifestyle, and I think through that I started questioning things like the beauty products I was using, and just looking at like how natural things can provide for us in like all areas of our lives, and how much we drain like resources these days. And we do it mindlessly just because of how we've grown up and kind of been brought up, and we're going with the pace of life and like whatever's like the pace of what's being manufactured and marketed. It's kind of like a domino effect really, and then you get caught up, and I think you have like this light bulb moment where you're like, this isn't really sustainable, it's not really normal, there's better ways to do it. So I guess beauty came into it, and I was looking at beauty products and natural ingredients, and then through that you start realizing, it's packaged in plastic, and like it's one thing after the other, and you're like, okay, now there's materials to be conscious of, and then that comes through. And also like fashion, I think, was the next bit. I'm surprised I didn't think about it sooner, because of our job, like especially when we were at ASOS, you're shooting like 50, 60 outfits a day, like there's 10 models, maybe more, and you just think, it's normal, it's like because they sell so many clothes, but actually it's the pace of the industry is insane. And then you start thinking, how are all these things made? Where are they all made? So I guess from being in the fashion industry, I was aware of like how everything works, but not really like not conscious, not really like asking questions. I think now that's the big thing is people are asking more questions and they want to know where things are from much more. So yeah, I guess that's how it all sort of started. I think once you start thinking about one area of your life, you're like, there's so much else to like figure out and to know.
And when you like, you obviously you promote different brands on your page and different products, and what in your, especially in your useful essentials, I really love that. I think that's really awesome. I was looking at, and what do you look at? What are important factors when you look at a product or a brand that you want to promote? What do you look for before you decide to talk about them?
I guess like that's a good question actually. I guess it's tricky because promoting any brand is like technically not sustainable because you shouldn't be buying anything new. But I think I guess then the first thing I would look at is whether it's like relevant and whether you really need it and it has a purpose. And obviously you need loads of things day to day just to kind of get through life, but whether or not it's just a luxury, or even if it is a luxury, if it's made mindfully and if a brand has good ethics in place, like they treat their work as well, or everything's made locally or in-house, or if they give back. There's obviously like so many aspects of sustainability, like from the environmental side to the economical side, and then obviously the social side of things as well. And that's what I like. In a lot of businesses will be giving a percentage to a charity, or they'll be planting a tree for every t-shirt they make or something like that, or they'll be supporting communities that are like less well off, I guess. And I think that's always nice, especially from small brands, because I know like as having my own small brand, it's really hard to even generate like enough income to begin with to pay yourself. So when brands are like passionate about doing their bit as well as like having their own business, I think it's really inspiring and just really impressive, because it's hard to do and even like the biggest brands in the world don't do it, I guess. So yeah, I'd say like the purpose is a big thing, but that also depends on whether like how you buy and your kind of how you consume things. And we don't need a lot of things, but I think we want a lot of things, or sometimes we want to upgrade things we already have, and that's totally fine, it's normal. But it's an element of like asking yourself if you really need something else, or if you really need the newer version, as well as if you're looking at brands and what they're selling, is it going to add to your life? Is it going to be useful? Is it going to bring you joy? Is it going to last a long time? Are you going to throw it out in a few days? So it's kind of just, I think that's what people mean by consciousness in this whole thing, is just like, and I think understanding how you're behaving, I guess.
And I think it's all about like when you can really look at if a brand is positive and genuine in the right way, instead of just kind of surface level saying something. If you can really dig deep, if they have been conscious about their packaging, if they use natural ingredients, these kind of things where you can really be honest, I think that's important.
Yeah, because a lot of brands do just like tick a load of boxes to hit a new trend, like especially the bigger, more mainstream brands. And it's good in a way because you're getting out there to more people and you're making small adjustments. But if they're not being completely transparent, it's like when beauty products are like, we're all natural, and then you turn it around and read the ingredients and you're like, none of this is actually natural. It's just like not as bad as they used to be or something, you know. But there's a lot of like confusion, and that's what's hard. And I think that's why people don't generally enter into this territory or like kind of start researching things, because there's so much to go through and there's like so many mixed messages and
it gets
you don't know where to start. It's overwhelming, so it is tricky.
I find I get a lot of my information now because I'm learning along the way about all of these topics with the environment and sustainability. But I find amazing platforms is like you and my friends and all the people who use their social media and blogs and stuff to talk about it in a way that's really approachable for people. And I find it's really awesome to get information from there, and I love that. And do you get like positive feedback from people that really love seeing the ideas? Do you feel?
Yeah, I do actually. I've been super lucky on Instagram, and I don't really get like any trolls. Even last year I was traveling somewhere new for work, like every month, flying quite a lot, and I was never trying to cover it up, that's the thing, but people didn't shout out at me, or they weren't like, what are you doing, you can't say you're sustainable, and then going like, I've been really lucky. But I think it's because I never say that I'm perfect, and the nature of my job is I work in fast fashion sometimes, and I travel a lot, so I need to make an income as well. But I try and wherever I can control it, I choose to work with brands I really feel like I resonate with, or I want to support. And people always respond pretty well. Like if I post about like little swaps, it's quite interesting for people, like how I swapped from using like a plastic toothbrush to a bamboo toothbrush, for example, or something else like that. Like people are always like, this is so cool, and like, where do you get this from? And like they message me and tell me what they've changed and how it's changed their lifestyle. So that's always really encouraging. And like I think when you start with like bite-sized things like that, then people can relate to it, and they're like, okay, this is something I do every day. I can just not buy normal cotton pads, I can buy a reusable one and get used to like washing it, which is such a weird concept. At first I was like, it's so old school and like backwards, but actually it's so much better, and it saves you money, and it saves you like.
I was going to ask, what are your have become like essentials in your everyday routine that you've exchanged, like cotton pads, for example? Is there anything else that that have become like a daily essential for you and you don't even notice the change, kind of thing?
Yeah, so definitely that. Also with makeup, I don't really use makeup remover anymore. I'll just use like a natural face cleanser or something, and I just think it's more natural. And then I'll use the reusable pads or like a muslin cloth or something. So I never buy the old like cotton pads anymore. Cotton buds as well for like when I'm doing my makeup or whatever. I just buy wooden ones. I know you can get reusable ones, but I haven't found them in the UK yet. Things like that, I guess. What else?
No, those are awesome.
A water bottle, a coffee cup, like a keep cup is like obviously every day.
Well, in London it is. Like you go on the subway, I mean on the tube in London or around London, everyone has their own cup. But I don't think it's quite translated into the like New York market yet. So I just
really,
it's coming, but I don't feel like in London it's almost weird. I find if you see someone using a non-reusable one, a paper cup. But yeah, hopefully it's gonna start trending more across. I mean, it is happening, but I think people in New York are too rushed sometimes. They need to.
Do they have like benefit schemes in coffee shops where you get like a percentage off your coffee and stuff?
It's only starting to happen in some of the really smaller independent coffee shop chains. It's like in London, even Costa and Pret, I think they all have them.
Yeah. That does help incentivize people.
Yeah, it does. So I was going to ask you, you don't just talk about other people's products, you've actually produced your own. You notably quinola, am I saying that right? Because I've read it so many times.
Everyone's like, how do you say this? What is it? It's not a word.
Quinola, right?
Quinola.
Yeah, so notably that. And I just wondered what advice you would give from, it's so scary when you have an idea and you start to produce something, you start to make it. What advice would you give, and just things you've come across and lessons you've learned from making your own product?
I guess my first piece of advice is similar to like how when I look at brands, it would be purpose, and whether or not you have an idea that's really going to change something or is going to be useful and needed. Basically, it can obviously be a luxury if you want to make like a nice sustainable clothing brand. That's really nice, but it's got to be something unique, because otherwise it's so hard to get it off the ground. In my experience, that's what I've always felt anyway, because I set up my brand when I was like 21, I think, and I had no experience, never went to uni, didn't know anything about cooking. Like I was just making it for myself when I changed my diet. And I think if it had been a normal oat granola, I wouldn't have got it into any of the stockists I got it into, because there's so many of those already. And mine was just so unique because it's made with quinoa instead of oats, and it was super like clean, like gluten-free, vegan, no refined sugar, even superfoods that weren't really being used in like mainstream products then. And I think that's what caught the attention of buyers. If you are going to sell like in stores or not just on your own platform, then I think just having a unique point of difference is key to like getting a bit of momentum, because otherwise it is going to be a little bit trickier maybe to convince people why they need the product. So I would say that, and then I would say, like you said as well earlier, like learning on the job and just embracing that, because especially as if you're doing something that you really care about and you're passionate about and you enjoy it and you love the whole topic, like you said, you're just researching things, and I love that phase where you're just like so interested in everything, because I think then it becomes part of your life, and when it's your own startup it really does like take over your life. And so being able to enjoy it and just learn on the job is like, it's an amazing opportunity. You don't have to go and do all these courses or have done a business MBA or whatever. Like you can learn on the job and find what works for you. And I think when I started off with Quinola, at first I didn't really realize it was becoming like a business. I was just making it for friends and taking it backstage at shows and stuff like that. And then once I started overthinking, I was like, oh, I'm really like not legit. I'm not a business person. I'm like a failure. I really would be doing so much better if I had a huge team behind me. You start like getting into this frame of mind where you're like, it's like imposter syndrome. You're like, what am I doing? I'm 21 and I'm trying to start a business. But I think once you understand that it's always like a unique experience, then it's way more enjoyable and you learn more about yourself, and you then end up developing like a really pure and like meaningful brand that's not just something you started to make some money or whatever. Like you can tell when a brand has really like put their heart and soul into something.
I was going to say it must have been, it's really brave of you to write books, and you know, you put yourself out there in the way, because I know, same for me, doing a new thing, it's like, well, what do I really know? What do I like? Why should I be talking about this? And you second guess yourself. But you were brave enough. You've written your book and you do your blog and you've made products. Like it's incredible. And I think I guess bravery is, and just being honest with it, is that like advice you would give to people who have something to say and are scared?
I mean, I go through that mind frame pretty much every day. I'm still like, should I be saying this? Do I have a right to say this? I haven't really trained like I'm not qualified, blah, blah, blah. But I think having your audience as an encouragement is really nice, because you know that you're making a difference to people's lives, even if it's a tiny difference. If people if you have something interesting to say and you haven't just completely made it up, like I think you just have to, I mean, I really struggle with like using my voice sometimes. In the last few years I really didn't want to post, and I didn't know what I wanted to say, and I didn't know if people would receive it like well, and I was really scared, and sometimes I still get like that. But I think I guess it's just, if you really are present within yourself and like believe in what you're talking about yourself, and also having people around you to inspire you as well, helps you to just be like, I'm not alone in this. I haven't just made this up. Like I'm like onto something. This is interesting. And if you're making like a good impact on the world, then I think you shouldn't be scared to share it or just try and inspire people. It's not like telling people what to do. It's more just like guiding people. And I think also it's about sharing what works for you in quite a personal way, and not saying like this is going to work for everyone or everyone should be doing this. It's just like, if you're interested, this is what I've been up to. If not, like, don't hate on me. And you kind of have to hope for the best.
I think it's all about being honest and taking people on your personal journey and on the way.
I think being honest, because otherwise you're always going to get to a point where it's not sustainable, and you're going to hit a wall, and someone's going to call you out, and you're going to be like shit, and then everything goes bad. And so I think and it's always much more enjoyable for you to just be like, well, it's easier for you to post daily if it comes from the heart and you're like you know what you're talking about. So
I was going to ask, where do you, with products and stuff that you talk about, where do you end up finding a lot of them? Like, how do you look for them? How is there places you go to look for new brands to talk about, or is it just from personal research everywhere?
I guess personal research to begin with, Instagram a lot. Like a lot of brands will just engage with me, or if I'm posting about sustainability, I'll see some sustainable brand has liked it or something, and then I just try and kind of like have a look at what they're doing. And I've discovered some really good brands on Instagram and through other people, like friends who are interested in the same kind of thing, if they post something from a brand I haven't heard of. There's also, I work with EcoAge quite a lot, which is like an online platform and sustainability like consultancy in London, and they have a website and post a lot of really good content on there, and it's kind of news stuff, but it's interesting and inspiring, and you can discover a lot of new brands on that and on their Instagram. And my friends also run a platform called What's Your Legacy.
Okay.
And that's really good for like fashion in particular. They've got a little directory on their website, so they have like a really nice list of amazing brands, like really cool fashion brands doing really amazing stuff. So I've discovered quite a few from that. What else? I'm sure there's some other like blogs and stuff. I guess like I Google a lot of things, and I generally find some other sort of sustainability blogs that do like nice edits about brands they've discovered, and yeah, kind of a bit of everything online pretty much. I never really discover them in stores anymore.
No. I mean, it's not so obvious in stores, and I think we're all online now, just searching everything all the time. And what is a brand right now that you've really just come across and you're like, you feel like they're doing it right aesthetically? It can be anything, but you just like what they're doing.
I guess Suzanne is a good one. Do you know Suzanne?
It's the jewelry one, is it?
No, Suzanne's like they're a French brand actually, and they specialize in like, I think they've just launched menswear, but mostly like it's a women's wear brand, and it's kind of like, you know, like chic French girl vibes, like very effortless, but like cool and chilled, like everyday items, but that are they're better quality than just like your high street store. They have really nice jeans, they have a sustainable jean edit, and then like t-shirts and tops, but like they just have like unique designs, like low back or nice prints, and they're things you can wear every day, but they're a little bit more interesting than just like a t-shirt and jeans. And everything is sustainably made. They also do like organic collections every now and then, or like specifically they'll have a collection that's got something a bit even better than the rest of the main collection, and they have a side kind of project which is like a social charity kind of thing, where they work with communities around the world to give back to them, and through sales or through specific, they do like a limited edition t-shirt or something with a charity. So they're really good, and they just have a really good vibe. You can see on their website, it's very cool. And
I think it's important for the product to be just as good as the message, like you're saying, the and the cuts, like that's super important for people to want to go to.
It feels like good to wear, and you know it's going to last, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just it's not. It's a nice brand. I don't know why. I was going to say something else, but I lost it.
No. It's still a chic thing that you'd want to be seen in, but while doing good. And I think that's really important. I think when a brand is keeping it a product that people want, as you know, you would buy it anyway. But like it has, because of the style, but it has the amazing what it's doing sustainably and the message and the thought throughout it, and it's conscious. I like that. I'll check them out. I actually hadn't heard of them.
They're really good. They've got some good stuff.
Awesome. And is there anything during this time that you've learned? Obviously we're all at a standstill right now in quarantine or lockdown, wherever we are, and is there anything, it could be anything, you've learned over having this time?
I guess it's more like, it was kind of like the same process I go through if on a retreat or if I'm doing yoga or something, and I'm like reminded how good it is to slow down and just like focus on little important things in everyday life. And I think we all just get so caught up in the day-to-day life and like doing like constantly. Like, think how much you had planned for this whole year that you now can't do, because you plan like way in advance. And it's great to be busy and to have things going on, but I think we just underestimate the power of like being still sometimes. And I think it's nice to not, it's obviously not a good situation, but I think it's a good reminder for people that like you can just chill a little bit sometimes and not feel guilty for it, and you can still be productive in different ways, and life doesn't just revolve around work and money and being stressed. I don't know. So for me, it's been a reminder, like I'm still keeping busy every day, but I'm just not being too hard on myself if I'm not feeling as productive as I usually am. And I think for a lot of people too, like with my book and stuff, I've seen people like posting and tagging me way more in like the last few weeks than the last couple of years, because I think they finally have time to like take care of themselves. And like I think that's something people always see as a luxury, is like, I don't have time to like meditate, or I don't have time to just have a bath in the evening and chill, like read a book, do like nice things that are good for the soul. And I think that's hopefully a reminder for people that how good it feels when you can give yourself a bit of attention. And also people are like doing way more fitness, eating way more healthy at the moment as well. Like, I mean, you have up and down days. Some days you just want to eat crap, but
I like, well, I've definitely seen the eating and cooking, and I've definitely experienced that's a huge thing, and then working out. But I think another thing is I'm communicating with a lot of people that, I mean, I haven't spoken to you in forever, and I feel like a lot of people are reaching out to each other because they suddenly have the time and they're not feeling as stressed. And it's okay to just have a conversation with someone you might have not spoken to in ages, and I quite like that aspect of it.
Yeah, definitely. You have like a proper chat with your friends because you both have nothing really to do, and it's like we're connecting more. Like the shares of Zoom went up like loads in the first week of quarantine, because that everyone is just like using it for work and fitness and catching up with friends and stuff. So
it's a great time to be in that industry, on the online house industry, Zoom. Please tell everyone where they can find you online for your blog and your Instagram. Just tell everyone.
So my Instagram is @dcopperman, my second name, and then my blog is daniellecopperman.com. But once you get to the page, it's wellbeing and other stories, like with the main blog there and a few of my other projects. And the breakfast brand is QNOLA.co.uk, and we ship globally. So at the moment we're running a 15% off offer as well during quarantine, so that people are like getting stocked up on healthy food. So yeah, they can buy that, and we ship globally. So
thank you for chatting.
No worries. I'm excited to see all your other interviews as well, and like see where the business goes. It's gonna be so good.